Hello! I can't believe it is time once again for another round of TBR Bakery, my TBR game that I play every month to pick the books that I may or may not read. So today I'm going to be making my TBR for the month of March, which means that this game is officially on round 13, which means it is over a year old. I've been playing this game for over a year already, and I am so happy with how this worked out. Like, I still have fun playing it every single month. Um, you guys seem to like watching it every single month. I haven't been putting up a lot of videos to compare it to lately, but this is by far my most watched video that I put up on my channel overall. So I'm excited that you guys are liking it. I'm excited that I'm still liking it. I'm excited that the board held together because honestly, I wasn't really sure if glue sticks and stickers would really do it, but apparently it did because the board is a year old and it still looks great. So before we get into the TBR for March, let's just go over how I did in February. Not very great, so let's just say I am taking that punishment, which I will get to in a couple minutes if you don't know what I'm talking about. I had 3 ebooks, so they're not here. I had Verity for a high rating. I did not read it. I had the St. Valentine's Day Cookie Massacre for an ebook, and I am partially into it, but I've only read like 17%, I think. So I had All Systems Red by Martha Wells for way back TBR, and I did not read that. That being said, I still have a couple days, and I just finished a book that I'm reading now. A current read, so I'm going to be picking something else up. I'm not sure what, but in any event, I probably will not finish it. Then I had Things We Never Got Over for a book over 500 pages, didn't read it. All the Feels for Resurrect a Series, didn't read it. And Aragon for Husband Free For All pick, and I have read a little bit of it, but not much. So that is a very clear indication that I lost my game for February. So in February, my end spot was punishment for this month if I don't finish that TBR. Is there an easier way to say that? Punishment next month, meaning March, if I don't finish my February TBR, which I clearly did not. I barely even touched it. I did read a lot of things, so stay tuned for a wrap up that may or may not ever come, but I did do a fair amount of reading. I think I finished 4 or 5 books, just nothing from my TBR. So my punishment was read a classic I own physically. And in February, I did the birthday book tag because February was my birthday month. And one of the questions was, what's a book that you read when you were younger that you think you would appreciate more as a more mature reader, or something along those lines. And the book that I put for that was Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. First of all, this copy in particular is very special to me because this is the exact copy that my dad used to read to my brother and I when we were very small children who probably did not understand a word of it, but it was the act of our father reading to us that we enjoyed. So this is the exact copy that he read to us. This is from the 1970s, and it's like an educator classic, or an educator classic library, complete and unabridged version. So it tells you it gives you definitions of words and stuff in the margins. So I think it's supposed to be for a younger audience. It's full of illustrations and stuff, and it is very 70s, for sure, very 70s. I have absolutely no idea where my dad got this. He is definitely one of those people that just finds books, like thrift stores, yard sales, random places. He just acquires books. So I have no idea where he got this, but it ended up in my hands. So this is going to be the classic that I read in March for my punishment of read a classic I own physically. And I'm glad that I remembered, I'm glad that I did the birthday book tag because it reminded me that I own this book, and I have been wanting to reread it. So yeah, the first book on the TBR in March, I don't know what I'm doing, don't mind me. The first book on the TBR in March is going to be Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Okay, so I think that is everything that I had to talk about at the beginning of this video. I don't necessarily have any like priority reads, so I think for all my like extra readathons and stuff and these prompts, I'm just going to try to fit whatever books I'm in the mood to read, and we'll see how it goes. So without further ado, let's get into the rolls. Roll 1 is a 5. And we have a cupcake. Book I know nothing about. Roll number 1 landed me on a cupcake, and it's a book that I know nothing about. And for this one, I am going to plug in a book for one of my other reading things that I'm doing this month, which is the Start and Stop Buddy Read hosted by Allison over at Allison on a Book Break. I will link her channel down below as always. And it is a middle grade book, but as of filming this, I don't think we're going to know for sure what we're reading yet. But she has a poll up on her community tab, and at the moment it looks like A Pinch of Magic is going to win. I don't know who the author is. I will put the cover here. And in second place is The Thief Lord, I believe. So it's probably going to be one of those two books that I will be reading for a book I know nothing about. Roll 2. Here's a 1. Oh, a coffee break right away. Roll 2 got us a coffee break, which we always love in this game, and that means we don't have to pick a book. Roll 3. 2. 1, 2. Another cupcake. And it's a self-pub novel. So the next roll got us another cupcake, and it is a self-pub book. For this one, I am going to pick a book that I heard about from Books with Emily Fox here on YouTube. I will link her down below as well. And that is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I believe she decided that this was her favorite book of last year. This also could fit for a book I know nothing about. All I know is what she said, and she didn't really give much of a synopsis that I remember. It doesn't mean she didn't, it just means that I don't remember it. But, I mean, she was raving about it, so I have high hopes, I guess, for a book that I know absolutely nothing about. But that is what I will be reading for a self-pub book. Roll 4 is a 3. 1, 2, 3. We have a donut. Author Sarah, so it's just an author whose name is Sarah. Next, we landed on a donut, and we got author Sarah, so this just means that the author's first name has to be Sarah, because my name is Sarah, so that's where that came from, if you couldn't figure that out. And for this, I'm going to be reading The Sugar Queen by Sarah Addison Allen. I bought this at a small independent bookstore that no longer exists, sadly. And I believe it is magical realism. In this irresistible novel, Sarah Addison Allen tells the tale of a young woman whose family secrets and secret passions are about to change her life forever. Josie Serini is sure of 3 things. Winter is her favorite season, she's a sorry excuse for a Southern belle, and sweets are best eaten in the privacy of her closet. Alright. For while Josie has settled into an uneventful life in her mother's house, her one consolation is a stockpile of sugary treats and paperback romances she escapes to each night. Until she finds her closet harboring Della Lee Baker, a local waitress who is 1 part nemesis and 2 parts fairy godmother. With Della Lee's tough love, Josie's narrow existence quickly expands. She even bonds with Chloe Finley, a young woman who is hounded by books that inexplicably appear when she needs them, and who has a close connection to Josie's longtime crush. Soon, Josie is living in a world where the color red has startling powers and passion can make eggs fry in their cartons. And that's just for starters. Brimming with warmth, wit, and a sprinkling of magic, here is a spellbinding tale of friendship, love, and the enchanting possibilities of every new day. Cute. Roll 5 is another 3. 2, 3. Another donut. Can I just get 1? It is a hardcover. Next, we landed on another donut, and that gave us hardcover. And for that, I'm going to read The Whisper Man by Alex North. This was going around a few years back. I feel like a lot of people were reading it, but I never did. I managed to pick this copy up for like $4 from Job Lot a few months ago. And this is a thriller, I can tell you that. If you leave your door half open, soon you'll hear the whispers spoken. After the sudden death of his wife, Tom Kennedy believes in a fresh start will help him and his young son Jake heal. A new beginning, a new house, a new town, Featherbank. But the town has a dark past. 20 years ago, a serial killer abducted and murdered 5 residents. Until Frank Carter was finally caught, he was nicknamed the Whisper Man, for he would lure his victims out by whispering at their windows at night. Just as Tom and Jake settle into their new home, a young boy vanishes. His disappearance brings an unnerving resemblance to Frank Carter's crimes, reigniting old rumors that he preyed with an accomplice. Now, detectives Amanda Beck and Pete Willis must find the boy before it is too late, even if that means Pete has to revisit his great foe in prison, the Whisper Man. And then Jake begins acting strangely. He hears a whispering at his window. ... If you're lonely, sad, and blue, the Whisper Man will come for you. Seems creepy. I'm excited. Roll 6 is a 1. And that is a cake slice. A 4+ word title. The next roll landed us on a cake, and that was a 4+ word title. So for my own reasons, 4+ word is just 4 or more. I know some people, if they write 4+, they're like, no, it has to be over 4. That's not the game I'm playing here. So mine just has to be 4 or more. And for that, I'm going to choose Assistant to the Villain. My best friend read this and she told me that I need to read it. So I'm gonna read it. Another book that I don't really know anything about. Okay, Assistant Wanted. Notorious high-ranking villain seeks loyal, level-headed assistant for unspecified office duties, supporting staff for random mayhem and terror, and other dark things in general. Discretion a must, excellent benefits. With ailing family to support, Evie Sage's employment status isn't just important, it's vital. So when a mishap with Renedon's most infamous villains results in a job offer, naturally, she says yes. No job is perfect, of course, but even less so when you develop a teeny crush on your terrifying, temperamental, and undeniably hot boss. Don't find evil so attractive, Evie. But just when she's getting used to the severed heads suspended from the ceilings and the odd squish of an errant eyeball beneath her heel, Evie suspects the dungeon has a huge rat, and not just the literal kind. Because something rotten is growing in the kingdom of Renedon, and someone wants to take the villain, and his entire nefarious empire, out. Now Evie must not only resist ruling over her boss, but also figure out exactly who is sabotaging his work and ensure he makes them pay. After all, a good job is hard to find. Assistant to the Villain. That's what I'm going to read for a 4+ word title. Roll 7. A nice big roll would be nice. A 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, at least we got a coffee break. Roll 8 is a 5. 1, 2, 3. We are at the end, and it is a free pick. Okay, the next roll got us another coffee break, so that's awesome because the roll number, the roll count was getting pretty high, so that would have been scary if everything ended up being a book. But the final roll led us to our end spot, and I ended up picking free pick. So for that, I am going to read another library book. I'm going to read Set on You by Amy Lee. And this says, he makes her heart race. A gym nemesis pushes a fitness influencer to the max in Amy Lee's steamy debut romantic comedy. Curvy fitness influencer Crystal Chen built her career by shattering gym stereotypes and mostly ignoring the trolls. After her recent breakup, she has little stamina left for men, instead finding solace in the gym, her place of power and positivity. Enter firefighter Scott Ritchie, the smug new gym patron who routinely steals her favorite squat rack. Sparks fly as these ultra-competitive foes battle for gym domination. But after a series of escalating jabs, the last thing they expect is to run into each other at their grandparents' engagement party. What? In the lead up to their grandparents' wedding, Crystal discovers there's a soft heart under Scott's muscled exterior. Bonding over family, fitness, and cheesy pickup lines, they just might have found their swole mates. Oh god, swole mates, really. But when a photo of them goes viral, savage internet trolls put their budding relationship to the ultimate test of strength. It's a gym romance. Cute. Okay, so for the official TBR Bakery TBR, for a book I know nothing about, I have the Start and Stop Buddy Read pick, whatever it is. I'm pretty sure it's going to be either A Pinch of Magic or The Thief Lord. Then I have, for self-pub, I have Blood Over Bright Haven by M.L. Wong. I have Set on You by Amy Lee for the end spot, which was a free pick. I have The Sugar Queen for author Sarah. I have Assistant to the Villain for a 4+ word title. And I have The Whisper Man for a hardcover. So that is it for TBR Bakery. And now I'm just going to quickly go over my other challenges and books that are going to be on my March TBR in some capacity. So I also have Around the World in 80 Days for my punishment pick of read a classic I own physically. So for Adventures in Eldia, the path that I'm taking, my prompt is start or continue an intimidating series. And for this, I'm going to be reading the second book in... Do I know the name of the book? No. Do I know the name of the trilogy? No. Robin Hobb. I read Assassin's Apprentice. I'm going to be reading this book, which is the next book in that trilogy. Is it Assassin's Quest? Maybe? I don't know. This one. I'm going to read this one. Okay, for TBR Knockout, the theme is New Beginnings, and you're supposed to read a debut and a book about starting over. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not really sure, but I believe this is a debut, so that's what I'm going to plug in for that one. About starting over, I don't really have anything. I was honestly thinking this, but TBR Knockout is all about reading your physical TBR, and this is a library book, so it's technically not mine. So I'm going to have to go back to that one because I was not thinking clearly when I wrote that down. For Genreathon, it is, that's hosted by, TBR Knockout is completely Melanie. I will link her down below. And Genreathon is Whitney over at Tibra's Den, and I will link her down below as well. And Genreathon, it's either supposed to be a dark romance or a psychological thriller. And I'm gonna use Verity again. I know it was just on the TBR last month, but it fits both of those, I feel like. So at the very least, it fits psychological thriller, I think. So we're just gonna go with it. And then the last thing is just the Start and Stop Buddy Read, and that's whatever book comes up at the end of the poll. So this is everything I'm planning to read in the month of March, plus whatever Start and Stop Buddy Read is, Blood Over Brighthaven, and whatever book I find for a book about starting over for TBR Knockout, plus this. So that is going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have read any of these books, what you thought about them, and if you think I will like them. Let me know what you're excited to read in the month of March, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!